I I would
This one's a hard one.
reluct-
This one's actually a hard one.
I would this is going to sound a little bit weird because they didn't really sign anyone, but I would reluctantly say Real Madrid had the best window. Villarreal have signed some truly stellar players, and I will put that out.
Come on, man.
But Real Madrid, I just want to say, Real Madrid got some serious talent back into the fold and also made some deals that I think were actually pretty efficient. So I'll just say this rather briefly. Real Madrid, going into this window, had just won the title, while Barcelona were pretty disappointing, and both of those teams had signed big-name players in the last two summer windows that were expected to come and do a lot. Eden Hazard was incredibly disappointing. Marco Asensio was injured for most of the season, and they still won the title. So now, coming back into the season, you're getting back Marco Asensio, who I think is an excellent player. On his day, is a very good central attacking midfielder and can also play off the left. Then you're getting Martin Odegaard back from Real Sociedad with his loan expiring, who I think is probably the preeminent attacking midfield talent outside of Kai Havertz in Europe. And I think he's an incredible player. He moves the ball very well for someone so young, and he's been with Real Madrid for years now. He knows the culture, he knows the expectations, and I think he's going to do well in Spain. He proved that in a very progressive Real Sociedad side, he was able to be the main man despite being so young. Yes, they lost Reguilon. Yes, they lost Achraf Hakimi, but they sold those players for good fees in today's COVID pandemic world. They sold those players for very good fees. Achraf Hakimi went for a lot of money to Inter Milan, and Reguilon wasn't a ton of money, but before last season, Reguilon was basically a no recognition name, except for maybe like diehard XG people like Nick and I. He was sort of under the radar and hadn't really come in very strongly into the Spain squad, despite this sort of obvious decline of Jordi Alba over the last like year and a half or so. Like, I think Real Madrid have brought players in that nobody thought were going to amount to anything, and have basically turned them into players who are competing at the top level of La Liga and probably going to do fairly well in the Champions League without basically signing any high-profile names aside from Eden Hazard. I think Eder Militao has a pretty high ceiling. I think Ferland Mendy is probably the highest ceiling, bar maybe Alphonso Davies of left-backs that I can think of off the top of my head that have transferred recently. And Alphonso Davies wasn't a left-back before last season. So you can't even Alphonso Davies is just like this phenom, basically. But Ferland Mendy, I think, is an excellent player. Seems to be filling the shoes of Marcelo. You still have Marcelo as a backup. It's not like he left. You know, you have Fede Valverde.
Marcelo as a backup.
What is the world coming to when that's the issue?
You have this dynamic midfielder. Yeah. Of course they will, but you still have Fede Valverde, this very dynamic midfielder. But then you still have Luka Modric. You still have Toni Kroos. You have Isco still plays for Real Madrid. I don't know if people realize that, but Isco still plays for that team. Rodrigo is still there. Vinicius is still there. Benzema had a great season last year. They lost Bale, yes, but Bale needed to go for that team to grow. There needed to be minutes available to younger players in the attack, and specifically their wing forwards. They have wing forwards. They sent Brahim Diaz out on loan. They signed him, and he hasn't made basically any minutes.
Hasn't kicked a ball for them.
Sent him out on loan. Send him out on loan. Maybe he'll do very well for Milan. He's been stellar in the few games I've seen him for Milan so far. I think they had an incredibly savvy window. They didn't spend basically any money, and they sold players for quite a few dollars. So that's why I'll say Real Madrid.
I'm looking at it right now. They didn't bring in anything, like nothing.
Yeah, like Seth said, the incomings were from loans. From the loan army was coming back. What I will say is that I think the reason I'm hesitant to 100% agree with Seth is because I think some of these players that they've sold are so good that they might like it might end up being like a poor decision in the long run, like Hakimi. Like Carvajal age, and the next in line would be Odriozola, and he's not Hakimi. So there's something to be said for that. Like, will the sales come back and bite them? They probably won't because they have so much depth, but it's just something I would keep in mind. Just for the moment. But I think what the window is that it's setting up for next summer. Because I think it's going to be Project Mbappe next summer. And that's what it seems. They're going to go all out for one of the lights out talents next summer, because they've been really careful about how they've kept the books. Like, obviously the Hazard thing has turned out to be not the best transfer thus far, shall we say. Probably one of the worst signings of the season last year. And we crapped on Greece.
It was a fantastic signing. It's just it was just a failure.
Oh yeah, no. I mean, I think the probably the biggest baller move was Eden Hazard getting his dream move after all this time and working with Zidane and literally turning up overweight. I mean, props to him.
You got that Real money. He was like, let's.
Yeah, but I mean, I think like the setup now, like they've sold, they've cleared their books, they've cleared the wages. I think that's probably like the incoming fees weren't like absolutely massive. Like the likes of James, like, I mean, they basically let him go on a free. But the thing is, the wages are massive. So that kind of transition is huge. Apologies, there's a lot of background noise. But yeah, I would say like for what they have done, they've definitely made the right decisions.
They shifted, I believe, somewhere around a million euros a week this window.
There you go.
Which is unbelievable.
First of all, to have the ability to have that in your locker, and then to get rid of that, that's impressive, because somebody has to take up those wages. Mm-hmm. And most of those players have gone on to be big earners on the other teams. Like Bale is going to be a massive earner.
He basically turned Spurs' wage structure upside down.
Yeah,
and as did Mourinho.
Oh yeah. The first domino there was the Mourinho deal, which is huge. It's absolutely massive. And James is now one of the top earners at Everton. So I think, like, shifting the wage bill is huge for a lot of clubs, and I think that was probably one of the biggest killers of clubs during this pandemic period. So being able to offload them is just a really good move overall. But for me, I think I have to say my winner is still Villarreal. I mean, come on. They brought in Estupiñán, Coquelin, Kubo on loan, Dani Parejo, Juan Foyt. I mean, like, there's just so much talent now. I mean, the one problem is they're managed by Unai Emery. That's fourth place gone. That's not gonna happen. But I mean, they've closed the gap so well. I mean, between Villarreal and Sevilla, like, it's, I don't know, it's more exciting now. I just really like the talent that they have. And I mean, hopefully with Kuba coming in, it's not going to stunt my favorite, player on that side, Chukwueze. Hopefully it's not going to stunt his growth. But we'll see. So, I mean, they're my winner in La Liga, at least.
So there really isn't no clear-cut winner in La Liga with this transfer window. And you guys pretty much just took the two, good ones right away. So I'm going to throw a curveball at you guys right now. Cadiz. They had themselves a decent transfer window right here. You look at what they brought in. They brought in everything. They had a really good July.
Big shout.
They did really good here. I just want to read these guys off, right? So Alvaro Negredo from Al Nassr SC. What a player he is. He's going to be a good striker for him. I don't know who that is. Ivan Alejo Peralta from Getafe. You get some experience, right, from your in your team right there from La Liga talent right there, right? You got Nanu from Ibar, Anthony Lozano from Girona, Jorge Pompo from Real Zaragoza. Don't know. I still got more for you guys. Don't you worry. Felipe Malbasic from Tenerife, Gaspar Penderero from Al Wada, Alvaro Jimenez from Birmingham, sorry. David Mayoral from America, a free agent, Jens Johnson, Jermais Ledsma, Jario from Giroa, Alcala from Girona, and Bobby I can't even say that. Bobby Atankanye. Adekanye, there you go. There you go.
What a window. What a window. Moving on, let's talk about the worst. Alberto Negredo is the only name from that whole list I knew.
No, Lozano and Negredo will be okay. Negredo he's too old to be useful. He's like 34 at this point. Like, I don't think it's a good signing. But Lozano is a good signing. Joko Lozano from Girona actually is actually a decent player. And he'll get goals and he will create.
Because you look at the rest of the league,
these, and they are going down.
Nobody did anything in this league. It's insane. Nobody.
They got smashed by the pandemic financially.
Yeah.
Like
I was gonna say Barcelona, but like, who would say Barcelona after that transfer?
Absolutely no one.
They had the scare of their with Messi. They almost
he'll leave next
broke. It was bad. All right. Worst. What do we got? I think we all can agree on one. 3-2-1, Sevilla.
Valencia.
No, not Sevilla. What are you talking about? Sevilla had a great window. Get out of here with your nonsense. They brought in great players. Valencia. They're terrible.
Horrible. George Mendes FC.
Oh my God.
FC.
I think we should talk about this one.
They brought in a total of one player, and that was in January.
Yeah. I think they just so here's how this works. Peter Lim wanted money. Peter Lim wants to get rid of the club. Peter Lim has screwed the club since he bought it. And so he decided that this window, with all he picked out everybody who disagreed with him at some point and got rid of them. So and tried to get rid of who he thought would get them the most money. There was one player who he refused to get rid of at the start of the window, and that was Jose Gaya. And everybody else was for sale. So I'm surprised that more teams didn't try and poach a few more of their players, because it really was the definition of a fire sale at Valencia. And frankly, I don't know why, because Valencia are terrible, or have been. Marcelino was the only reason they were hanging in there, plus some really talented players. And basically, they offloaded all of the really talented players and didn't fix any of their problems, which are bad coaching. They are churning out managers like nobody else, and they are just a mess up top. So outgoings, you got Parejo, you got Torres, you've got Rodrigo, and I mean, I'm not as bullish on Rodrigo as other people, but to lose your top young talent for almost nothing, because they were asking for like 70 million for him 6 to 8 months ago, and then to sell him for around what was it, 40, between 40 and 50 in the end, that's terrible. Parejo going on basically a free is a joke, and Parejo was one of the most reliable all-around midfielders in La Liga for the last 5 years. He would Mr. Consistent, always put in 8 out of 10 to plus performances. Genuinely a great progressor, great creator, and would do some decent defensive work, and they just let him go to what is a direct rival for the top 4 or the top 5. So yeah, it's an embarrassment. I think the club is a mess, and the thing is, Peter Lim is really not gonna. He's not gonna get much for the club. Like, he's not really gonna sell it. No one's gonna try and buy a club right now. So he looks like a bloody idiot, and he's literally torn this club to pieces. And it's sad because Valencia are really they're a historic club. With it's a really proud history, and it's just sad to see that that just the Copa del Rey was not good enough, and so they had to detonate the team. So yeah, worst window by a country mile, probably all around Europe, just because of how the team has collapsed, and how the club has collapsed, and yeah, it's sad. I like Valencia. I really do. I just think they've really kind of made some real poor decisions.
I don't even think we need to talk about anybody else.
Nope.
I don't think anybody else. Everybody else has kind of had the same transfer window. Like, this was the one league that really nothing crazy happened. So
no movers and shakers. But keep your eye. There are a couple of low fee signings.
I guess you could say Barcelona because of the big scare with Messi almost leaving, or I shouldn't even say almost, like Messi wanting to leave. But other than that, nothing. So if that's all we got for this league, we can move on over to Italy.